Total Drama has had some really memorable finales, from Gwen and Owen racing it out an island to Heather vs Alejandro on top of the volcano world tour. However, we've also had some rather questionable final two, like Duncan and Beth or Mal vs Zoe, which makes you wonder, what would have been a better final two? So today on our list, we're going to be listing the top 8 much better Total Drama finalists. Also, I want to clarify that some of these matchups will be hypothetical, meaning they don't have to be in the same season to be a final 2 for me. These are just going to be my final 2s, and I think they would be really interesting if they went down some way, somehow. But before we begin, make sure to click that like and subscribe button. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, guys. If you want more Total Drama content like this, be sure to click that like and subscribe button. With all that said, let's begin. At my number 1 spot, I chose Izzy vs Scarlett. Now, obviously Scarlett is from the 3rd generation cast, while Izzy is from the 1st, but this hypothetical matchup for a final 2 could be awesome to see go down. You have Izzy, who has a wide variety of skills. She went toe to toe with Chef Hatchet. Then you have Scarlett, who unfortunately they fumbled the bag with her, but they were still able to come back some way, somehow. Hypothetically, of course. Scarlett could use her big brain as a way to throw obstacles at Izzy, and it would make for a really awesome finale to see. Now, if we're talking about the Izzy who was in World Tour at the end, who supposedly figured out time travel, then I feel like she curb stomped Scarlett. But regular island and action Izzy, it's essentially the crazy brawn versus the smart level-headed. If I could imagine this finale, I could see Izzy doing some insane gymnastics, maybe even turning the stroller into a motorbike of some kind, like how she mentioned her brother was a mechanic, and then she built a bike out of sticks and stones. Scarlett would probably try to sabotage it, use something to change the bike's trajectory when it's going to the top of a volcano or something like that. All of which is assuming that this is the World Tour finale. If it was the island race, obstacle, course or whatever, obviously it's a lot less to get through, so they probably finish it all in no time flat compared to Owen and Gwen. It would most definitely be overall a good watch in my opinion, if we're talking about the World Tour one, because if we're talking about the island one, I feel like they're just going to get through it really quickly, with some minimal sabotaging and stuff like that. Imagine the World Tour finale challenge, you put Scarlett up there with Izzy. I think we're in for a good matchup. We've seen Scarlett help Max with sabotaging the balloons of doom, then telling Max to use the wire conductor for the electric eel. All of which proves she could come up with a lot of crafty ideas to stop Izzy in her tracks. But Izzy herself shouldn't be underestimated. Number 2 is Scott vs B. Now, a lot of you really disagree with me on B returning in Total Drama All-Stars, which I should have explained myself a bit more into why I think that, because all you really had left was Anne Maria or Dawn, which I think B did a lot more than Dawn in my opinion. As for Anne Maria, I just think B has a lot more to offer, but again, that's just my 2 cents. As for the finale, Scott was a pretty good antagonist in Revenge of the Island, so seeing him go up against B would make for a really good finale. We see B building a rocket couch, then we see him melting the other team's snow castle with an ice mirror. Dude's pretty OP. Honestly, he very might well be a lot smarter than Cameron if we got to see him last longer in the competition. Obviously, Scott is pretty crafty, he does a lot of sabotaging, so I could see him trying to mess with most of the supplies that Chris throws down in the arena. Assuming of course this is the Revenge of the Island finale. I would pick this one since it's obviously the most logical to happen in the series. Just replace Lightning and Cameron with Scott and B. Then you have yourself a brand new finale. B would definitely make some kind of invention to pin Scott on the ground for 3 seconds. We saw Cameron do this with an Iron Man-like suit, so imagine what B could build in the finale, man. Maybe with Dawn's help he can make an armored robot cockroach-like creature, not more so with the weird octopus tree. Then Scott can maybe make some weird deal with Fang to have him join up with him, rather than Fang turning Scott into a robot. Then we could see a giant mutant-like battle. Now that would make for a really good finale. Or if you wanted to reverse it and have B team up with Fang knowing he hates Scott, that works too. Then have Scott find something else he could use, like the cannon, and launch some mini mutant rabbits with the laser beams, and then also do some sabotaging on the side. B of course would make some technological device, whether you think Dawn could help him tame the giant cockroach creature, or get Fang on the side, or even Scott somehow. I'll leave it up to you guys. Overall, I just think a mutant battle would be pretty cool if you had to see it some way somehow. So yeah, you could do something with Fang, either have him join Scott, or have him go up against him. Either one would work, just either way, that's my overall premise, having a mutant-like battle between the two. I feel like that would have been a pretty better finale overall. Number 3 is Noah vs Lindsay. I know a lot of people, myself included, would have really loved to see Lindsay in a finale, same with Noah, and while Noah is very smart, obviously he's not the most athletic, so I think it would be an interesting matchup for this case. Also, we'll be using the World Tour Finale Challenge. Lindsay would most likely choose Tyler and Beth to help her, while Noah would probably choose Owen and maybe Izzy, we'll just say, for their second helper. In all honesty, you could have the helpers be more harm than good. Just have Owen get distracted by some food, or both Izzy and Owen getting another makeout session of some kind. Same with Team Lindsay, just have Tyler try to help her, which traps her in a cage, just like we saw with Cody trapping Heather by accident. Now, if you wanted a no screw up matchup, I could see this going either way, to be honest. Lindsay might just win through sheer dumb luck alone, while Noah miscalculates or something like that, or the opposite could happen by having Noah obviously outsmart Lindsay. This matchup is more or less just an underdog versus underdog kind of thing, so let me know down in the comments, are you Team Noah or Team Lindsay? Regardless with the alternate ending kind of thing, they both still win, funny enough. Halfway on our list, we have Brick vs Joe, one of the best rivalries we saw in Revenge of the Island. Every time they were on screen, it was a battle of who was the best leader, always trying to one-up each other in some way. Whether it be through a race or a thumb war, it was always just so entertaining to watch to see who was the best of the best. Obviously, it seemed Joe had the upper hand through some of it, since Brick has this whole military code thing going on, so if they were to compete in the arena, things would be pretty interesting. Brick would most likely try to save everyone from the mutants like Cameron did, while Joe would use this as an advantage to pin him through brute force alone. One way would just be Joe pinning Brick during his attempts to save the rest of the cast, or during this Joe would just get blindsided by a mutant and knocked into a wall, giving Brick his opportunity to win. I don't see them making anything technologically advanced compared to Cameron's Iron Man suit, there's just no way. They probably just made some generic armor at best that's superior to Lightning's that we saw him make in canon. Then when Chris unleashes the mutants, things can get really interesting. You can make it where Brick wins through Joe maybe getting blindsided, or if you want Joe to win, if you're rooting for her, she would just take advantage of Brick when he's trying to save everyone from the mutants. Either way, it would definitely make for a really good finale. Number 5, we have Heather vs Leshawna. I don't think anyone is going to argue that these two were constantly at each other's throats, not more so rivals, just a bare bones, they flat out hate each other. I mean, just seeing Leshawna take Heather to Slaptown was enough for me to say, I want these two to be the final two. It could have happened quite a few times actually, especially in Island, where I absolutely hated her elimination. Having Chris count the pair's voice so many times, and everyone accidentally saying her name to vote her off, it all just felt like a lazy elimination to me. So to me, Leshawna got robbed. So in an alternate universe, I think Heather vs Leshawna could have been an incredible finale to see. In Total Drama Island, obviously, everyone probably would be helping Leshawna, so Heather would really have to think on her feet to try and win, but she's definitely cunning and clever enough, so I could see her screwing with some of the challenges to get an advantage. She made the pole slick for Gwen to climb up, so no doubts in my mind, I could see her doing the same thing to try and throw Leshawna for a loop. Speaking of Leshawna, with her support from everyone being so involved this finale, she to me would by far have an easy time getting ahead. Same thing obviously with the alternate ending, they'd both win obviously, so Leshawna could win just through her many supporters, or Heather could win by a hair through sabotaging or some sort. This finale for sure has a clash written all over it. With them being the final two, so close to the 100 grand, you know a throwdown showdown is coming. Forget the fight we saw on World Tour, this one is going to be a death match for the 100 grand. Number 6, we actually have Courtney versus Brick, and this idea I've had for a while now. Brick being an All-Stars would have been incredible to see. Then you have these two dish it out in the finale. Courtney has been robbed of a win so many times at this point, so this would definitely be one to win for the books. Also, it would definitely be better than Mal vs Zoe, I'll tell you that much. Anyways, Courtney is really crafty and despicable. I could see her causing so many obstacles for Brick. As for the helpers, they would more than likely get Joe and Lightning would probably be Brick's team, while Courtney could have Heather and Alejandro. Now this will be a real All-Stars finale, Gen 1 versus Gen 2, and since it's an alternate ending, we get to see both sides win obviously. Joe and Brick being on the same team, then you want to give them Lightning, that's a pretty nasty combo. Alejandro and Heather can help Courtney through being craftiness and strategizing, and sabotaging. With a finale like this, it's a battle of brute force Gen 2 versus Gen 1 strategists and craftiness, so it's really anyone's game. I could see Lightning completely tanking the blast from Chef, allowing Brick to come across, then have Heather slow Brick down by sabotaging the pogo sticks or something, or making them out slick. Now, if Chris wants to make things more interesting and make it where anyone can win the million like he did when Mal was defeated, then it's just complete chaos. At that point, they'd have to make multiple endings, which for an all-star season, it would make sense to see, multiple endings. With that in mind, out of Joe, Brick, Lightning, Heather, Alejandro, Courtney, who's the true Total Drama All-Star? Leave your thoughts down below. Nearing the end of our list, at our number 7 spot, we have Justin vs Alejandro. Having these two interact in any capacity, whether it be as allies or rivals, it would just be so interesting to watch. Justin as an antagonist in action wasn't played out the best. He made his team do stuff for him, but that's really about it. So maybe have him pick up tips from Alejandro, the strategy side of things if you will. So it could be Alejandro playing Heather, then you also have Justin playing Alejandro. So think of World Tour, but Justin pulling the strings on Alejandro at the same time. Something like that happening until the finale would be really interesting. During the finale, it's basically the battle of strategists. Who is the true master manipulator, Justin or Alejandro? Alejandro would of course pick Heather as a helper, the other would probably be Lindsay. Justin, honestly, I'm not sure, maybe Duncan and Noah, because Noah had a small rivalry with Alejandro, so it could be his own vendetta, and Duncan just because he also wanted to take Alejandro down. Now, Alejandro and Heather I feel is enough to dominate Justin's side, but with an alternate ending, obviously, with Duncan's help, I could see him pulling something he learned in Juvie, maybe to stop Alejandro's tracks, or Noah coming up with a solid strategy. But either side of the coin, however you look at it, it's definitely going to be a good battle. At our great number 8 spot, we have Duncan vs Harold, and I think we all wanted this to be the case in Total Drama Action, because Beth in my opinion had no business being there. Harold and Duncan's rivalry, how incredible it was to see go down an island, then transition to Total Drama Action. To me, I think this is 100 times better than Lightning vs Cameron. Harold having his incredible skills could outwit Duncan, causing Duncan to get all sluggish, thinking how he could possibly lose to a nerd. As for Duncan's ending, you could simply have him overpower Harold, so either way, whichever ending you want, it's a satisfying end to Total Drama Action, and proving who was a better man between the two for their long-time rivalry. Also with the rivalry there, I am pretty sure they're not going to help each other like Beth did to Duncan, unless of course one is baiting the other. There should be no tie, and if there is, well, it's just an easy fix with the alternate ending. Alright viewers, that crosses off our list of the top 8 much better Total Drama finalists. Let me know what list you'd like to see next. With all that said, I look forward to seeing you with our next list.